Alright, so I have all new Currie tie rod and drag link with the new steering stabilizer as well. I'm going to be swapping this out. You can see the difference in diameter here. If you look at these tie rods are I think 1.25 inches, this tie rod and this drag link. And then if you look at my old one, you can just see how much skinnier it is. So yeah, we're going to be replacing it. So first thing I'm going to do is just loosen up all these nuts. And I'm going to take measurements of the tie rod and drag link before I take them out, so I can put these in, the new ones in, as close as possible and have to do as little adjusting as possible. Alright, so we've got a whole bunch of cotter pins to loosen up at all the ball joints. We've got one here where the tie rod meets the drag link. We've got one here where the drag link meets the hub. We've got one here where the drag link meets the pitman arm. One down there where the tie rod meets the hub. And we've got a cotter pin here for this where the steering stabilizer hits the drag link. And then over here the steering stabilizer is just held on with a bolt and a bolt and a nut, sorry. So we're gonna work on all these first. I'll probably start with the tie rod, so I'll get this one and that one and take that off first. And I already measured it out to 42.5 inches. Oh, I've got all the cotter pins off. I got the vehicle jacked up, tires off, so we got to go about separating these ball joints right now. So easy ways is 1, spray it with the lubricant like PV Blaster. 2, if you leave the castle nut on top just partially, hit it with the hammer, try and loosen it. And then the next step are these pickle forks. So I just borrowed these from AutoZone. You just slide it in and hammer it in. And we'll see how it goes. It might destroy the rubber boot, but I mean, should be hopefully replacing this anyway. But yeah, pickle forks are pretty much the last resort. So let's see how it goes. You're going to have to remove the right tie rod end, the driver's side, where the drag link meets the pitman arm, and then one here. And we're going to have to remove the steering stabilizer mount here. So this is 2 3/4. So I have a wrench in the back caught, and then I'm using a breaker bar on this side. It's pretty tight. And then my best advice with the pickle fork is just to keep going in from different angles. So like go in a little bit like this, then maybe a little bit from this direction, and it should pop right out without too much effort. It's not too bad. Got the old system out of the car, and you can see the hubs kind of just roll outward. So it's going to be critical to adjust this to the right length before we put it in. So I measured out to 42.5 inches, and then I'm going to adjust it to that. That's for my tie rod, and then compare it to the old tie rod to see. But so right here, for the new, whatever these are, clamp mechanisms, is 11/16 and is about a 14 millimeter. So I'm going to loosen that, and I'm going to make my tie rod longer, and then my drag link, based on the measurement, needs to come a little shorter. And then after that, it's pretty simple. So the tie rod, obviously, one ball joint will go in here, and you just put on the castle nut that comes with it and a cotter pin, and then we're going to put the whole thing back in place pretty much the same way it just was. A whole bunch of ball joints. The drag link, these clamps are both 3/4. Putting in a new steering stabilizer at the same time as this. So before I go put the whole tie rod drag link setup back in, I'm going to put this mount in first just while I have easy access to those 2 3/4 inch bolt and nut again, and tighten that down. I'm going to just try and get it up and out of the way, and then I'm going to put in the tie rod and drag link. So I'm going to start with the mount here and then go over there. Just clean off the mounts first a little bit, and then see if we need to do any adjusting, and then we'll try and put the last mount in right there, and then we'll get the last attachment for the new steering stabilizer. See how it goes. So now we got to attach this steering stabilizer bracket just like this. So you put the gold plate in the back, the U-bolts come around from the front, and then there's just 4 washers and 4 nuts on the back. So one thing that was weird was it didn't really come with the right size washers. It came with some, and then I had to take an old one too of my own. So I would just go out and get washers that work for you. And then it also comes with a stud that you mount from the back, and there's just a nut, a washer, and then another nut, and you mount it. And then you zip tie obviously the boot on first. And this is pretty much done. So now it's all installed. The only thing left to do is 1, put new grease, and then check the alignment and adjust it. So I'll probably do the alignment first and then do the grease. thing I want to say is be careful with these grease fittings. I broke my last one off as I was trying to grease it up. I broke it trying to pull the grease gun off, actually. I had to special order on this metric size M6, a little straight piece to put a new grease fitting in and then put more grease in. But yeah, now the project's done. But so just be careful with that.